Hello, my name is Donovan Hubbard. This is Glenn Ivey. We're here Saturday, and this is the day that they're trying to get people to get kids inoculated. Thanks very much, sir. Are you aware there is no law stating that people have to get inoculated?
Yeah, the Maryland law, I think, says basically you can get inoculated or get a waiver.
Right.
On the Maryland regulations.
Are you aware that the school board didn't inform properly the parents that they could get a waiver signed, and they wouldn't have to go through all this legal business?
Well, my understanding is that on the forms for the shots, there's information about the religious waiver, and I know they have a handout for the waivers as well.
Right, that's good. Do you think it would have been probably a better, procedural protocol to inform the family of this waiver in the first place?
We've done it for 2 years now.
For 2 years?
Yeah. When the legislature changed the regulation in '06, that's when we started communicating overall.
Yeah. So the lead up to this was. Phone calls to the homes, mailers to the homes, flyers to the homes, and then even home visits. He's with the school systems.
Did anybody mail the waiver to the home?
I don't know that they mailed waivers. Did you mail waivers? Or?
I interviewed parents. They didn't. I interviewed 3 parents.
Opportunities were given.
I called the letters.
And they continue to be.
No waivers?
No.
In other words, they mailed them the form that said they need to get their child vaccinated, but they didn't mail them the optional waiver.
I read several of the letters. There was no mention of the
Are you talking about
the exemption.
Are you talking about the judge's letter or a different one?
I saw a couple different ones. Remember they had a couple different ones? We were talking this morning. They had several different letters. There was like 3 different letters, and they didn't have the exemption mentioned it in there, and their own press release. I have a press release from the school, not from Glenn's office, but from the school and the health department, and there's no mention of exemptions in there. And I talked to a lady who came out, and she said she's not told in there, and she has a child with epilepsy, a preemie, a 5 to 6-year-old, and she had no,
To the press release,
right.
The press
I have
release
it.
was about the announcement, not about that.
But it talks about.
Anyway, sir.
Right.
Let's get back to the subject. Now, I know you're more of a law person, so you might not know as much about medicine. Do you have any knowledge in the medical field?
No, I'm not trained as a doctor. No.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it takes a lot. You have to know a lot of knowledge to be a lawyer in the first place. Being a doctor on top of that, you'd have to be a genius.
Harder to be a doctor than a lawyer. I think. Yeah.
Right. And well, are you aware of the fact that there's mercury and other harmful chemicals in some of these inoculation shots?
Yeah, it's been raised, and I can get Dr. Shell in there to come talk with you on those issues.
I'd love it.
I know for some people that's why they want the medical waiver.
Right. There's actually been a lot of studies linking, vaccination to autism. Have you read any of those?
I've read people's views about. I've gotten email from doctors around the world on this in the last few days.
Right.
And they're doctors on both sides.
This is a very passionate issue. You realize this?
It's very passionate. Yes.
And how do you feel personally? Would you have your kids immunized? And if you didn't trust what was in the immunization?
Well, we did have them immunized. We had for a while on hepatitis B, we held off, but when it became required by the county, we talked to our pediatrician.
Now, when you say required by the county, what is the real technical term for that? There's no requirement. That it's a law. There's laws, and then there's not laws.
Well, there's a list that I guess the state education and health department put out of what the shots are supposed to be.
Right.
And so when it was added to that list, we had them inoculated for that too.
So I'd like to give you a piece of information, and this is so you can take this home and find out more about this. These are just bullet points of a history of vaccinations since about the 1930s.
Okay.
There's some good information on there, and I encourage you to go look this up for yourself. Because like I said, they're just very basic bullet points, descriptions of.
Well, I think it's in the. She just gave me a book called Evidence of Harm, which I think sort of lays this out in a more.
Right.
It's like about a 500 or 600 page book, if I'm right. So I think it's.
Well, I think instead of trying to, go about this the hard or the easy way, what you should do is find the best way for the families and for the people, and don't step on anybody's civil liberties to get vaccinated or not get vaccinated. This is a big thing right here. That you're trying to push people to get vaccinated. And that's against a lot of people's, care for the children. They don't want to get their children vaccinated, and they have very good reasons for it.
Personally, I'm
web later.
What's that?
You put this on the web later?
Yeah, of course, sir.
Can I have your website so I can watch it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's going to be on YouTube. My name is Ross, R-A-S-D-H. And
I'll write it down. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, you'll also be able to find us on Infowars.com too.
Great. I knew it was going to be up. I just wanted to know.
No problem, sir.
Yeah, from my perspective, we just really wanted the parents to come in and make a choice one way or the other so their kids can come back into school.
Right. Now, is anybody going to be around informing them, though, of the waiver, this waiver right here? Got a lot of paper here, excuse me.
I know that at her request, they made it part of the packet that was given to parents when they came in. And,
I mean, have you seen this?
Yeah.
I got a handout.
Yeah.
It's on the front.
Okay, and how many of them are there? Are there 1,600 of them? Of those papers.
All parents have?
Yeah, these are all given out. Now this is the regular immunization form, and this is for the objections part down here at the bottom, the waivers.
Right. And you say you have this at the front desk.
Yeah, I think she raised it earlier in the day, and we
have a front and back.
Yeah, and then I believe on the, well, you should be better off talking to Dr. Shell, but I believe on the forms that have the immunization piece, there's language at the bottom about the waiver issue.
But I was told by various people that was not in the packet that was handed to the parents this morning, that it was on a table in the back.
These are part of their medical records.
Yeah, but I guess the point I'm trying to make is that, because there is a separate form for that, but it's on the form that they use for the immunizations itself at the bottom of it. So the form, anybody that if you get your shot, so when you'd go in and you'd do the shots and the information would go here, at the bottom of all of those forms is the waiver information. Here's religious and here's medical.
Right.
So everybody that got a form has it on there already, and there's a separate form for the waiver issue. I think the point she was trying to make was that she wanted more extensive information about the waivers.
Right, and don't you think we should be getting a little bit more extensive information about what's in the vaccines? I mean, you yourself admit that you're not entirely sure about the vaccines and, what they actually do to the human body. So don't you think the issue should actually be backtracked a little bit because of, lack of knowledge in that field?
Well, I know there's a debate about, the impact.
And if we're still questioning it, then why are we trying to, make a step forward with it? If the issue itself is still in question.
Well, my sense is in the medical community, it looks like the vast majority think they're safe. I know there are objections to that. I'm not trying to get in the middle of them. Okay. And Dr. Shell, he can come out here and talk with you about it too. But,
I mean, you got to admit, though, there is a history of certain pharmaceutical companies pushing drugs that aren't necessarily safe. I mean, you remember Vioxx about 2 years ago, right?
I'm a strong believer in government regulation of corporate activity.